We've seen a dramatic increase in the number of visitors. Auckland has a 10-year visitor plan. We're 2 years into that plan, and our goal is to grow earnings from $3.3 billion a year to $6 billion a year, so it's a very ambitious plan. And as part of that, we also have a major event strategy, which is designed to bring major events into the city. We are the city in Australasia with the most number of international sporting events. So all of those factors have contributed to quite significant growth in visitors.
And a new convention centre coming on soon. This is a long time coming. Obviously, you must have been thrilled when you actually heard the news they'd come to an agreement.
Yeah, look, we're delighted. I mean, the International Convention Centre was a key part of that visitor plan. It's something that we know that Auckland has needed for a long time. We know that there's latent demand out there. We run the Auckland Convention Bureau as part of ATIB, so the feedback we get from international convention buyers is that they would see Auckland as a destination if we had that facility.
Now, you talked about Auckland having so many sporting events. Obviously, with the new convention centre opening, there's a lot of potential to have delegates at a lot of these events, and obviously, rugby is just one of them, cricket as well too. I mean, how important are sporting events when it comes to this segment?
So sporting events are really important for us. So we're hosting the World Masters Games here in 2017. That'll be the largest participant sporting event New Zealand's ever hosted. We're expecting 25,000 participants and 10,000 supporters. And the International Convention Centre, if it had been completed in time, could have potentially been a venue for some of that activity, as well as hosting some of the events around it. We've just had some of our team up at St Petersburg in the last month at Sport Accord. While they were there, a lot of the feedback we were getting from some of the sporting organisations we're working with on events is, hey, we've heard about your International Convention Centre. Would you be interested in hosting some of our conventions in Auckland, whether it's as part of hosting an event or whether it's a bolt-on as well. So I think there's lots of opportunities to leverage those two pieces.
And we talked about earlier on about the new hotels that are coming into the city, and there's a plan for at least 4 of them over the next few years. How realistic, and tell us a little bit about what you know about the projects.
Okay, so a number of those are refurbishments or taking existing commercial buildings and so I guess brownfields sort of developments. What we know is that in Auckland during our peak summer season, the city is really short of rooms in the 4 to 5 star space, and we really struggle at that 6-star end of the market. So there are opportunities in each of those segments. What we think the convention centre will be give investors even more confidence that not only can they expect really high occupancy in that peak season, but in the winter months where historically occupancy is much lower, that you're going to have a convention centre that can be driving that activity. And already we're talking to existing hotel operators and developers, we're talking to airlines, and there's just a mood of excitement about the sort of impact the convention centre can have on that investment proposition.
How likely is this new hotel going to happen down at the waterfront? We've seen a fair bit of development down there, and there's some amazing event spaces down there too. Realistic project?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's the Millennium Group are looking at a refurbishment of the Copthorne. We've got the hotel site at the Viaducts Harbour as part of the Wynyard Quarter precinct. Our colleagues at Waterfront Auckland have just closed an international expression of interest. They've had a number of major consortiums interested in that development, and I believe also some hotel operators. We've also got Britomart and their plans for a hotel there. So I don't think we'll be looking at one new waterfront hotel. I think we'll be looking at more than one, but it'll obviously take some time. And I think once the convention centre plans are finally locked and loaded, timeframes are understood, then I think we'll see some people coming off the fence.
And the other day we saw Air New Zealand announce their 7879 routes, and importantly they're putting it up into China and Japan. How important is it that the airline keeps putting larger aircraft in on some pretty key routes? I mean, China outbound market is just growing phenomenally for New Zealand, so how important is that focus for Air New Zealand?
Oh, look, I think it's critical. I mean, clearly, we are an island nation, so most of the people that are going to come here are going to be coming via aircraft. Air New Zealand have shown a tremendous commitment to those key markets, and we've got a close working relationship between ourselves, Air New Zealand, Tourism New Zealand, and the Auckland International Airport. What it's also pleasing to see is other airlines looking at Auckland. We've obviously seen a huge growth from China Southern into Auckland, and we believe that they're looking at an increase in capacity. We've seen Hawaiian Airlines into the market providing a service out of Hawaii, but also into mainland USA, and starting to also see airlines looking at Auckland as a potential hub into South America. So we're really optimistic. But Air New Zealand have definitely led that charge, and we're very lucky to have such a strong partner.